Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Nina Rybchak. I'm representing Skill to Start team. I'm also here today with my colleagues from Skill to Start, from Tatiana Dubovskaya and Natalia Kuznetsova. We are entrepreneurs and startup entrepreneurs who moved to the Netherlands with our families, let's say a couple of years ago. So, Natalia moved 3 years ago, but that was a COVID Corona lockdown period. And we decided to join our efforts in order to help the Russian-speaking entrepreneurs or people with creative mentality and creative way of thinking to start business in Europe, specifically in the Netherlands. We started with the Netherlands because that's the country we chose to live in, and we really love this country. It's a very comfortable one. But we also are expanding our efforts now, and we have a Telegram channel, Skill to Start. Probably most of you are aware of that. We post all kinds of important and interesting from our point of view information there. We do online streams with entrepreneurs who moved to Europe within the last 5 to 10 years, and they share their experience there. We did some conferences and free webinars with the experts from the Netherlands, from law experts and tax experts. And we try to share our experience of how to start business in the Netherlands, how to develop, how to softly land in Europe in general, how to accommodate here. And today we have a very exciting event. It's a very rare opportunity, I would say, when a representative of an outstanding facilitator from Germany came here today. Her name is Anna Hutel. So warm welcome to Anna today, this evening. And she's representing Next Mannheim, a German facilitator who is providing a lot of help for startups and businesses, to helping them to move and establish in Germany. So now I'm giving the floor to Anna.
Thank you so much. I'm also very happy to be here today. And I didn't get any of the conversation before. My Russian is non-existing. But I understood that you already told where you are from. So I won't ask this question later on when I'm asking you some questions to get to know you a little bit better. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Let me do that. And
Anna, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, but I think it's important to say that Anna will share a presentation about the facilitator, but it will not be very long, so you won't be bored, hopefully, and you will have a very good chance and enough time to ask your questions. So there will be discussion.
Yes, please. I don't want to bore you for the next, I think we won't take the whole 2 hours. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to interrupt me, to raise your hand, to write it down in the chat. Sometimes I don't see it, so just unmute yourselves and ask questions whenever they come. I will ask on specific moments in the presentation if you have questions so far, so there will be a lot of room for your questions throughout the whole presentation. So, as already said, what I want to share with you today is how you can start your business here in Germany or relocate your business to Germany. And I call the presentation 10 steps for a soft landing in Germany. But before I get you through the 10 steps, I would be very happy to get to know you a little bit better. And therefore, there's something missing. Here you see it, but I also put it into the chat. the link where you can, here it is, where you can reach out to Slido, which is a very nice application. And I have some questions for you to get to know you a little bit better. So you can or join with a QR code, or you use the link that I posted into the channel, or you go to slido.com and you dial in 2982652. And I will start with the first questions. Did you already found a company so far? So I ask for yes and no and not yet, which means I definitely have it as a plan for the next 5 years. The majority says yes. We only have 4, I think. Okay, it's not working from where you are, Mira, at the moment. Does anyone else has this issue? Anyone else struggling with the Slido link, attending it? So Mira, I would be interested in your answers as well. So maybe you can just type in if you already found a company, if you didn't so far, or if you plan it. Someone is making, how do you say that, lines on my screen. I hope that doesn't bother you. So I think we have 10 now, and Mira, she is planning to do so. Okay, that's great. I will go to the next question. And this is maybe a difficult one because some of you may not know Mannheim, but have you already been to Mannheim? Oh, yes, wow. I think that's Natalia, right?
Oh, yes.
I was pretty sure that it's you directly. So the question is, have you already visited Mannheim, a city here in Germany? Yes, 25%, and no, 75%. So I really hope that after my presentation and our conversation today, these people of you who said they haven't visited Mannheim so far want to come here and want to get to know the city better and the possibilities here for founding a company. And I will go to the next questions, which would be, what are your expectations for the event today? So just one word or 2 words that come into mind. You can put one word and then another one. Just feel free to type in everything that you have in mind for this event today. So I can also rearrange a little bit my presentation if there is anything that I want to cover or you want me to cover today. And Mira, also the invitation for you that you can put it into the chat, or to all of you who cannot use Slido, just put it into the chat as well. It counts today. So business culture is one aspect. I will cover it a little bit and you get to know me as well. Maybe I'm also for you a little bit German, so maybe this is helpful. Difficult. What does that mean? I don't understand it. Maybe you can explain it a little bit better. Just unmute yourself or type it into the chat as well. The steps, yeah. Concrete steps for foundation, problems, opportunity, relocation, partnerships. I will cover that. All of this. Yeah, problems and opportunities. I will cover definitely. And also, I hope that I can show you some solutions for the problems that you might face during a relocation process or a founding process here in Germany. Criteria for startups to be elected. Relocation of the startups, yes. Language. Good question. I did not prepare something specially for language, but I will tell you something about it as well. Partnerships, okay. Yeah, that's super important when it comes to relocation and foundation. That's true. It doesn't make sense to open up your entity here in Mannheim or in Germany if you are not able to find also possible partners here. Okay, I think no one is typing anymore, so I will go back to my presentation. And I'm not sure if I just started again. I'm sorry, because there were some lines and it confuses me and maybe you as well. So this is the clear presentation, and it was very helpful for me to have your answers. So I'm really happy to get to know you also with the questions you have later a little bit more. And it's unfair. I know you a little bit better, but you don't know me yet. So some words about myself. My name is Anna. I work for Next Mannheim now for 3 years. Next Mannheim is a local ecosystem here in Mannheim. I have mainly 2 jobs. First of the jobs is Up2B Accelerator and the international startups. Up2B Accelerator is a B2B and industry tech startup accelerator where we support these kind of startups in different phases. So from early stage unto scaling. And we have 6 different programs. I will talk about it later a little bit more. And the second thing that I do is supporting international startups when it comes to founding a subsidiary here in Mannheim or entering the German market. Until now, in the last 3 years, I have supported around 50 startups with their plans to come to Germany. And that's what I want to do today, share my insights, my learnings with you, what did work, what didn't work, where are pitfalls, what are the opportunities, and so on. First of all, some more words about Next Mannheim. I already told you we are the startup, the local startup ecosystem here in the area. And we are 100% daughter of the city of Mannheim. So we are really directly connected to the city, to the Department of Economic Development, but we are still a private company. Our official name is MG Mannheim und Gründungszentren GmbH, which is not very sexy and attractive. So our brand is Next Mannheim, where we cover a lot of activities and projects, and mainly our startup activities under this umbrella. Now, it's not only me working for Next Mannheim. We are 45 employees by now in different fields. So we have also the field of medtech, especially, and the tech support. We have also a whole team supporting creative and music businesses, and a team that is dedicated to urban innovation and urban development here in the city of Mannheim. And of course, the work is something that we do together. It's not silo work, but it's also important for our international startups, for example, to get to know the city also on a cultural perspective, if it's a livable city, make it more attractive also for people to come here, to live here, and not only to open up a bank account here. Not a bank account, sorry, found a company here. As I said, we are owned by the city of Mannheim, but we are also funded by grants by the European Union and by the state of Baden-Württemberg. Especially our accelerator programs are financed with this kind of grants. And at the moment, we have over 340 startups here with 1,500 employees working for these startups. And they are located in one of our 8 startup centers. So we have 8 startup centers here in Mannheim, and we are supporting over 350 startups only in the startup centers, which doesn't mean that it's only 350 startups in Mannheim in general, but there are also some startups working from other offices as well. Where did this come from? I also want to take you a little bit through the history of Next Mannheim, because of course you can imagine 8 startup centers, they were not built overnight, but we already started in 1985 with the idea of supporting startups and especially technology-oriented startups. So I think in comparison to other German cities, we were one of the first cities that take the advantage of like early adopters to talk about startups, to talk about foundation of companies to support young entrepreneurs. And that's something that already happened in 1985. And then from there, it grew to 8 startup centers, to the 45 employees, to also some colleagues working in the city of Mannheim to support startups, especially when it comes to financing and so on. What is also maybe interesting for you, we also, as I said, we also cover the topics of creative businesses, and this is also aligned to Pop Academy here in Mannheim. It's the first and only music business university here in Mannheim, where they do not only get the whole knowledge about how to play an instrument and about music and things like that, but they also learn how to make business out of it and how to do marketing, for example, things like that. And we also have a female entrepreneurship center here in Mannheim, which is the first one, and it actually is also the only one still until now, and it's already 20 years that it has been founded. Some more things, I don't want to guide you through the whole history of Next Mannheim because it's also boring. What I want to tell you as well is we have, it's not that we started somewhere and we built up one startup center or 8 startup centers and then we finished there, but we are also growing as a community here. So Cubex 1 was inaugurated in 2021, which is one of our medtech centers. And also Maffinex has grown in 2021. And I think the interesting part of it is that we also act like startups should do it. We start with an idea, we start with an MVP, we start with a project. So we build one building or we use buildings that are already available to see if it works, if there is a demand, if the startups like it, what they need and things like that. And then we build it bigger and we grow with the startups and also with the amount of startups here in Mannheim. And therefore for 2025, it is planned to open also a green tech center where especially green tech startups can be located. Yeah. These are our startup centers. I told you it's 8. So here is Maffinex. I'm sitting at Maffinex at the moment. You don't see my office. I'm sitting right here on this white space, which is our startup center for tech, high-tech startups, software as a service, and mainly B2B industry tech startups. We also have 2 centers, Cubex 1 and Cubex 41 for medtech startups. And I think the interesting thing here, or in general for Mannheim, this is something that I have to mention. It's very closely located to the customers. So, and Cubex is even more special because these startup centers are really located at the campus of university clinic. So if you are a medtech startup, you can directly go to see the doctors, talk to them, go to the patients, and they also have like living labs inside the university. So you as a startup have the direct contact to potential clients and to also potential projects. And it's really only 5 minutes walking. And here you see C-Hub and Musikpark and Textilerei and Altes Volkswerk. Those are the startup centers that are more dedicated to creative business and music businesses. And here you see Gig 7, which is the female entrepreneurship center that we have. Some facts and figures about Mannheim, because Mannheim as a city is not that well known in general. So even in Germany, normally people know it, but in other countries, it's not like the first thing that comes in mind when you're talking about Germany. Probably it's Berlin and Munich and maybe Hamburg, but it's not Mannheim, and especially not when it comes to the startup context. So I want to share some things about Mannheim as a startup city. We are always under the top 10 startup hubs in Germany, with a very high number of tech startups. So here you see that this was, that was a survey by German Startup Detector in 2019. And 2019, we were on the 4th place of startup hubs in Germany. And this differs a little bit from year to year. So we are 5, 4, 5, 6, 4, things like that, but among the top 10 here in Germany. And I think it's also interesting because also in comparison to the size of other cities, like for example, Berlin with, I don't know, I think it's 3 million people at the moment. We as a, in comparison, small city, we have a very high density of startup activity here in Germany. Also, our startups are very, very satisfied in Germany. So they rate the support and the services they get here and also the infrastructure very highly. They also have an above average assessment of access to capital. But here I have to say and to admit that it's mainly early stage capital. I will come to that back later, but really, I want to tell you the truth. Mannheim is a great, great place. But when it comes to scaling capital and growth capital, the access is not that easy as you may think. And also probably interesting for all of you that also want to hire people at some time. Here is also a high share of academic founders in Germany. We have a lot of universities, technical universities, very practical applied sciences universities, and also economics here in the area, which makes it really easy for students to found a company after their PhD or their master thesis and things like that. And it also makes it more easy for the startups here to hire young talent already directly from the university and bring them to the startups. And I think last but not least, I told you a lot about Mannheim as a startup city, as a startup hub, but I already told you a lot about Mannheim as a startup city, but I also want to tell you that Mannheim is a very livable and active and vivid city. The people here are very nice and open-minded, and I think it's also something that the city provides for their citizens here. We have, as I said, my colleagues talking about and thinking about urban cultural innovation and having different projects where they bring, for example, music or new ideas into the city center. We have the Pop Academy, and you can go to a concert of the students there every week. There's at least one concert. We have a vivid cultural scene, not only a nightlife scene, but also very classical. So you can have opera and theater as well. There's a lot of clubs and gastronomy here. And I think it's a very nice combination of city of culture, different types of culture, nightlife, and also nature. We have the vineries here close by in Pfalz, where you can have a walk and drink a lot of wine, for example. And what I personally like the most about Mannheim is really the open-minded atmosphere. They're really welcoming. And here in Mannheim, over 170 nationalities live in this one and small city. And I think you get this vibe directly when you come to the city. It's just like open-minded and welcoming. And that's something I like a lot. So I hope you will enjoy it sometime when you are coming to Mannheim. And those of you who already have been here can say that it's true and I'm not lying. I hope you felt it like I do here in Mannheim. Okay, so this was like the first part to let you know who am I, who's next Mannheim, what are we talking about actually. And I would like to ask you, do you have any questions so far before I really get into the next, to the 10 steps of a soft landing here in Germany? I think now is a good time for questions at this moment. Just unmute yourselves or type it into the chat. Okay. Well, not so far. I hope it was clear until now. That's good. And still, I go on now. But if you have any questions on every slide, just interrupt me and ask me questions. I like having conversations with you and not only presenting, but I understand that it's a little bit more difficult online than it would have been offline here in a room. Okay, so I want to talk to you about 10 steps of soft landing or founding a company directly here in Germany. And my first advice would be choose the region wisely. Why do I think is this important? There are even if you don't know about it, there are different regions here in Germany and different hotspots here in Germany. So I would suggest that you ask yourselves questions like, where are your customers? Is this region known for certain industries, networks, or topics? Is there money in the region? This is also very important because, for example, in the eastern part of Germany, there's still less industry and still less money, even if we are one since over 20 years now, 30 years now, sorry. So there's still differences in the local economy, for example. Does the region or the city provide further support for startups? This is today, I would say, every city, every bigger city in Germany would say, yes, of course, we provide support for startups. It's something like it's on vogue and everyone has to do it, but really dig deeper into it. What exactly do they support you? Where are the networks that they have? So really get there to become clear about, is this region really supporting startups, or is it impeding growth, for example, or is it very difficult to reach people for advice and things like that? And what is also important, in my opinion, is have a good look on where you are, not only a number. So for example, if you go to Berlin, you are one of a million. And if you go to Mannheim, you're one of 350, which is also a lot. But here is really, we know the startups, we know also the founders or the CEOs by their names. It's all a little bit closer, we are reachable, and things like that really matters if there's someone really interested in you and your business and not only in you as a number and you are the next one and things like that. So I have some examples. For example, for B2B, in general, Southern Germany is more interesting for you. So if you have a B2B startup and you want to sell services and products to industry partners and bigger corporates, the southern part of Germany is interesting. For fintech, for example, I personally would choose Frankfurt or Hamburg. And these are, or for example, automotive, Stuttgart comes into mind directly. I would like to have a closer look on Baden-Württemberg with you, because this is where Mannheim is located. And I already told you that we are also partly financed by funds of the state of Baden-Württemberg. So here you have two cards of Baden-Württemberg, and I think this is also very helpful to have a closer look on it. You can also check it here, the ecosystems, because in Baden-Württemberg, for example, you can see it is divided into regions, and these regions are special for, or they are dedicated to certain industries as well. For example, we have here e-commerce, and we have here software, and we have industry in the region of Stuttgart. We have the same here in the region of Mannheim and Heidelberg. For example, also software, medicine technology, and industry, and e-commerce is coming right now here as well. So this is something, if you find graphs like this is helpful for you to have a closer look. And here you see that there are different hotspots still in Baden-Württemberg. So you see there is a very dense network in Baden-Württemberg as well. Yeah. My second advice would be find a reliable partner. What does that mean? I already told you that you should check in the region and in the city where you want to go. Is there any support for startups available? When you have decided where to land, watch out for reliable partners and organizations that support your market entry. In some cities, you find support facilities for startups, and in some special ones, you will also find a team dedicated to support internationals. So I would say that now in Baden-Württemberg, I can tell you that next Mannheim, and Mannheim in general, is the only city that really supports internationals coming to Mannheim. We also have an initiative that is called BW International, which is Baden-Württemberg International. They support for all Baden-Württemberg, but not with this local ecosystem. And they also reach out for me, for example, when they have medtech startups or industry tech startups, to get them involved into the ecosystems. I think what is important for you as internationals is also the question, is the contact personal? So is it a direct contact to one person or to two people, but not only like info at numbers? What do they offer exactly, and how much does it cost? For example, most of our services for international startups are for free, but that is not always the case. I also recommend you to check out IHKs in Germany, the chambers of commerce, and universities, where you can also get support. And sometimes at universities, for example, even a lot of early stage support. And the chambers of commerce, they support a lot with getting you into contact with potential customers and clients. Yeah. I already talked to you about networks. It's not only about the reliable partners here, but it's also important to find business networks when you are establishing in new markets. Ideally, your partner organizations, or the ideal partner, the reliable partner you chose in step 2, they already have this context to certain networks and can bring you into these networks. Why are these networks so important? Of course, in these networks, there are a lot of already established companies, big companies, small and medium-sized companies, and they gather around a certain topic. So this is also a good way to, first of all, understand the industry better, and secondly, also to get into touch with potential clients right from the beginning. So what we have here, we have the network Smart Production. They are all into production automation, maintenance, predictive maintenance, things like that. They are located in Mannheim and in the region. We also have the medical technology cluster, which is also in the Rhine-Neckar region and in Mannheim. And they, for example, they have very good contacts to the clinics, to doctors, to insurances, to DIGA experts, sales representatives, and so on. And they're also happy to help and make contacts to potential clients as well, or for pilot projects, things like that. And we also have Cyber Forum, and they are more dedicated to cybersecurity, for example, but there are a lot more. I just picked 3 of them as an example, what I mean when I tell you, look out for networks, look out for industry networks specifically that support you with getting into touch with certain industry players and partners, and that can also give you feedback on your idea and on your, if you have to change, for example, something in the business model when it comes to entering the German market. When it comes to networks, I also want to talk to you about universities and research. For some startups, international startups, this was really a game changer to have joint projects with universities at the beginning, to do first a research project, which is a little bit smaller, and then reach out together with the university to potential clients here. This helps you, first of all, also have like, how do you say that, like German street credibility, because you work with a university here in Germany, and you also have direct access to talent and to German speaking talent, because some of you, they already mentioned what about language. It's still an issue here. So if you speak fluently English, you will get to a certain point and you can have your conversations and so on. But when it comes to pilot projects and when you are working with the direct departments, at some point it's always difficult to only speak English. So then it's really important to have maybe someone speaking German, or at least doing some parts of the translation to support you with understanding your local partners as well. So here you see, these are the main universities here in the region. We have a mixture of engineering universities, universities of applied science, technical universities, and also economics, especially University of Mannheim and Mannheim Business School. They're really management and economic driven. So we have a good combination here that makes it easy for you to find good talent here as well. Okay. Then, of course, and I think it's step 4 because you have to prepare a little bit before that. But to be honest, this is like the main thing. You have to find pilot project and pilot customers here. At the end, it can be nice here and you can have a lot of nice contacts and you can have a good nightlife and nature. I told you all about that already, and nice buildings. But if you do not find clients here in Germany, of course, that makes it very, very difficult for you. So this would be reaching out to networks, having research projects, for example, and then the next step is really find pilot projects with customers. Here I have some logos of the main brands here in the region. Of course, it's not all. We have a lot of multinational players like SAP, you know them, BASF, Freudenberg, John Deere, you might know them all. And also some of the hidden champions, for example, Heidelberger Druckmaschinen, ABB is also a bigger one. HEMA is one of these world market leaders that you may not know, but they are well known in their industries, and they're all willing to collaborate with startups. And we also have contacts to open up doors for you to this certain pilot projects and certain companies. Of course, another step or another possibility to get into touch with potential clients is accelerator programs. I think it's not only about the knowledge that you can get there, but it's really also about the network that you can get there. I would recommend you to also have a look on industry-specific accelerator programs. So do not take any accelerator program that you can get, but really figure out which one would be the best fit for you. For example, I can recommend Up2B Accelerator. I work for Up2B Accelerator as well. I'm a program manager there, but I can also recommend all of the others, and it's really depending on where your industry is. So if you are a life science and medtech startup, you should definitely go to Life Science Accelerator. Or Excel, for example, they do clean energy startups and green tech startups. So there is a smart green as well. So you would go there especially. FinTogether is one of the fintech accelerator programs that we have here in Baden-Württemberg. So really go find an industry-specific accelerator program, because they also open the doors. And it's not only about the networks and the access to customers, but it's also about industry-specific experts, your peer groups. You get valuable industry feedback. And the good thing is, at the moment, most of them are often digitally, remotely held, or in hybrid format. This is thanks to Corona, so that you can also attend from other countries as well. I recommend you, because I don't know how it is in Russia, but here in Germany, there are some startups, they do something like accelerator hopping. So they go from one to the next one and to the next one, and they take everything that they can get, but nothing happens. So they do not put it into practice. So what I recommend you to get the most out of it, really talk to the program managers and ask them, what do I get in this program? What is happening? What are the topics that we cover? Be persistent about it to get really good answers. Also, what kind of corporates do we meet? And then find the right program that fits your stage and not only the industry. For example, we at Up2B Accelerator, I told you, we have different programs for different stages. And it's really when we have, for example, our early stage program, and we have already startups that are a little bit too developed, they are happy with the program, but they do not get the most out of it. They should have taken another one. So really get into contact with these program managers and get to know what they are doing exactly, so that you really get the most out of it, because it's time consuming as well, even if it's free of cost. So there's no cost, no expenses, but it's time consuming to attend and to learn. Also with the accelerators, you also get industry experts, and I would really recommend to you to get in touch to experts in these main areas. So I would say sales and marketing are very important things that you should talk to experts. Sometimes this is already covered in accelerator programs, so you don't have to reach out by yourself. And especially for international startups, it's also important to talk to a lawyer, to talk to a tax consultant, and to a bank consultant, because it's really not that easy to understand exactly what is the right legal form, what taxes do I have to pay and at what time, how do I open a bank account, especially when I'm a foreigner and I'm not yet a German citizen. And there are so many pitfalls in this whole process. So that's why I think it's really, really important to work with experts. Also, not only for making the process at the beginning easier, but also to avoid making now mistakes that can lead to a lot of loss of time and money at a certain time point of your founding journey here. Okay. Any questions so far before I get to the next slide? I only ask this question if you have questions, so that I can have a sip of my water.
I don't know, Anna, if you're gonna tell about the kind of possibilities of maybe startup visa in Germany, if it's possible, or what kind of type of that company they to establish.
There are still 4 steps missing, so The next thing is I want to talk to you about investment, because I think this is also very important to have it in mind that yeah, you do not have to start with your own money alone. Of course, it's also important that you bring something in, but here in Baden-Württemberg and especially in Mannheim, we have some support systems. So what I want to tell you is Pre-Seed BW, you can have a closer look on it. It's a grant by the state of Baden-Württemberg. And I just tell you briefly how it works. One question, the idea is that for Pre-Seed BW, you find a private investor, and this private investor brings in 20% of the amount. And the state of Baden-Württemberg, they pay 80%. So for example, and it's max 200,000, so it's really a pre-seed fund. So for example, you have an investor and they pay 40,000 for the investment as a business angel. And then the state of Baden-Württemberg, they pay the rest so that you have at the end a sum of 200,000 that you can use for developing your MVP, for your first projects and things like that. I think this is a very interesting thing, and this is also something that also is an incentive for business angels here in the region to really invest into early stage startups and also internationals that come to the German market. We also have a very intense, dense network of business angels here in the area. I already told you that growth money is not so easy to get here, but business angels are very helpful here in Germany and especially here in the region. We also have matchmaking events, and we also do matchmaking on an individual basis where it makes sense. And I also want to tell you about, and we also have early stage VCs. HTGF is also a state VC, and SCS Ventures, they are also like a super business angel, super angel. So they not bring in money, but also knowledge. And you should have a closer look on them as well. And I put these two because they are really industry agnostic. So they are investing in different industries. So that's why I named these and not very specific industry VCs that we also have here, for example. And maybe Crea SocTech, it's a very nice name, by the way. This is something that helps you start here in Mannheim, because every time, so you invest, for example, a certain amount of money for buying software or hardware. So for example, even laptops and desks and chairs and things like that. And the city of Mannheim gives you up to 50%, and in some up to 10,000 euro for the first furniture, for example, for your office here in Germany. So I think this is also something interesting. Okay, now we have questions. So the first question is, comes from Mark. Should this business angel be from Germany or European Union? In my opinion, it should be from Germany, and it should be really from the region.
Нет, я слушаю.
Because someone is not muted. Okay, now it's better. Thank you. So in my opinion, business angels, normally they do not only give you money, but they also give you their network and their knowledge. So that's why I would suggest to look for a business model from Germany, from the region, with a good industry network and with experiences in your industry. Does it answer your question, Mark? Just give me like thumbs up or a sign. Perfect. Okay. And then I have also another question directly sent to me, which is, how should I start to find investors in Germany? That's a very good question, because it's not that easy, especially business angels. They are not like, they do not have like a homepage where they say, hey, I am this and that, and I give you my money, and I can also bring in my knowledge and my network. That's sad, but actually it doesn't exist. So what I would recommend you is also to reach out to partners like Next Mannheim, for example, to better understand what is your need, how much money do you need, what industry are you in, and then we connect you directly with potential business angels. And then there are also some formats for investors matching. So for example, we have here twice or 3 times a year, we have like investors, business angels speed dating here in Mannheim, where all the startups can apply whenever they want. I can put the link onto the slides as well. And when I'm sending it to Natalia and the whole team, they're gonna share it with you, you can have a closer look on it. So I think there are some of these events as well, and I would recommend to go there, because this also helps you to get like in a formal frame, you get already feedback and they tell you, okay, great idea, but you have to work on this and this and that, and then come and reach out to me again. So you do not like go to them and they say no and it's a no forever, but you can get a little bit feedback, and this helps a lot. So I hope this answers your question. Okay, perfect. Yes, perfect. Okay, so I will put also Pre-Seed BW, I will send you a link to it, and Crea SocTech as well, and HTGF and SCS Ventures, and also to, it's called Technology Ventures, where we do this corporate, this investor matchmaking. I will put the links on the slide so that you can have a closer look on it. Okay. So this is already step 7, and step 8 is what Natalia already asked about legal forms. Before I start talking to you about it, I'm not an attorney and I'm not a lawyer. I do not give legal advice, especially in this case. You have to work with an expert. So this is just what I'm like, it's from my experience. I tell you a little bit about it, but it's not a legal advice. So please talk to a professional in this case. And of course, I'm happy to connect you with someone who is already into working with international startups, so that you get a better understanding of the whole process. Yeah, so normally in Germany, it's like the question is UG or GmbH. For example, in the B2B world, I would always recommend to have a GmbH, because it's like the most professional legal form in Germany. But it really depends on your customers, what your customers expect, how much money you are making, and things like that. So it's not the easiest question, but normally at the end of discussing different possibilities, you come to UG or GmbH. UG is the smaller sister of the GmbH. So at the beginning, you do not have to start with 25,000 euro capital for the GmbH, but for the UG, it's only 12,500. So it's a little bit less that you have to have on your bank account for opening it as a capital to start making business here. And what I want to tell you is keep the process in mind. You can't imagine what can happen there, but there are so many pitfalls regarding, for example, the mailbox. If you go, normally the process is you talk to an attorney, you do the whole contracts, the stakeholder contracts. With these contracts, you are going to a notary, and this notary, he reads all the documents. This is an appointment that takes you 4 to 6 hours, depending on the contract, but he's really reading it. I don't know how it works in Russia, but in Germany, it's still, you have to be there in person and listening to this notary every word, and it really takes 4 to 6 hours. It's yeah, and then they send the documents to your post box, to your official address that is indicated on the contracts. If you do not have your name written on the mailbox, and these documents cannot be handed over to you, they send it back. And this means you have to restart the process from the beginning. So not from the beginning, because you can use the same contracts as well, but you have to go again to the notary. and it costs you the notary again and those 4 to 6 hours again. So really this is like, you don't have it in mind, but put an address on the mailbox of the your name on the mailbox of the address you indicated on the contracts. And therefore also it's important to have reliable partners. Like for example, our startup centers, it always works. We do not forget to put your name on the mailbox, but others, it could happen, for example, and especially if you are not there as a person, checking it out again and again and being behind the things, this could happen, and this already happened to some of them. Another thing that I think is very interesting is, for example, I told you you have to have the 25,000 euros as capital, as start capital for the GmbH. And you go to the notary, and the notary costs something, of course. The notary has a look on your bank account to see if there is enough money for him to be paid. But it's not something that you can pay out of this 25,000 euros, but you have to pay, so you have to have on the bank account 25,000 euros plus the sum that you have to pay to the notary. If not, the notary sends you back home and you need another appointment again. So these are like small things. And if you have a lawyer on your side or partners like Next Mannheim, for example, they tell you these things up front, it doesn't happen, obviously. But sometimes it happened, and it happened to a lot of companies already. So really, it's funny and it makes you smile, but it's also a pain if it hits you. So it's always good to have the whole process in mind and have someone to guide you through this process as well. Okay, and now I think we come to a very important thing, and it's applying for visa. Since your country of origin is Russia, in most cases, you will be required to have a visa before entering Germany. And the visa you need is a visa in accordance to paragraph 21 of the Aufenthaltsgesetz. I already indicated everything here. And this is especially necessary if you want to relocate your life and also your company to Germany. For third country nationals and for the success of the visa requesting process, it is especially important that you have a very good business plan. So it's not only like you as a person apply for a visa, but you also have a business plan already in your pocket to apply for this visa. And we also advise you to work with these reliable partners. There are several, so you can do it with Next Mannheim, for example. There are other players as well here in the region we connect you with, for even if you have a business plan, for checking this business plan, to work on this business plan and to make it as attractive as possible for the embassy for giving you the visa. And just to let you know, this service of checking and working with you on the business plan is for free. So this is also something very important, even if you don't have one. This is good to know that there are people working with you on the business plan as well. In addition to the business plan, it is also important for third country nationals that you can ensure your livelihood. That means that you are not entitled to public benefits. Means you have to show the embassy that you are able to pay for your living for 12 months. This means you have to need a blocked bank account. And I think the idea of this blocked bank account is that you can only deposit 900 euro per month. So you have a bank account and you put 900 euro per month for this 12 months period. And then it's not possible to take all of the money from this bank account in only one deposit. So this is the idea, that you really are able to live here in Germany for 12 months without depending on public services and things like that. And then I put down what are the documents required: business plan, blocked bank account. That's what I already talked to you about. Health insurance, qualification certificate, and CV means your how do you say that, from university, things like that, that you are really able to do this job that you are applying for, and your passport of it, for example. I think this is the easiest one. So the process normally is you finish the business plan also with a partner like Next Mannheim. Then you go for the application for visa for self-employment at the German embassy. And this process takes 12 to 16 weeks normally. I also already put here a link where you can register for appointments at the German embassy, and it's still working. So, and it's in Russian. So this link is in Russian already. You can have a closer look on it afterwards as well. So this is just like a short overview of what you have to have in mind, and I hope this helps you also. I can do that. So I will first copy. This is the easiest question that I can answer. So I start with this one. And then, yeah, now it's clickable. I send it, sorry, to someone directly, to all of you. Here it is. It will be clickable in the presentation I hand you over later on. So the first question is, so besides this 900 per month, I should have money for showing like I able to open the business. Yeah, the thing is, one thing is the personal life, your personal life. So for you as a person, you have to show the embassy that you are able to pay for your living, costs of living. This is the 900 euro per month. Beside that, for opening a GmbH or UG, you need capital as well. And normally it's the 25,000, in some cases it's 12,500 euro that you have to have on a bank account. Of course, this money is yours. It's not what you pay, but it is a start capital that you can use for paying your own bills, for example, paying you as a founder the salary. It can also be used for buying equipment. It can also be used for paying the rent of an office, things like that. So it's yours, but it's really for you to open up this GmbH, and therefore they need 25,000 euro. So it's two different things. The 900 euro blocked account per month, that's your personal thing, and the 25,000 euros is the business side. I hope that helps. Can you apply in any country embassy? Yes, of course. Depending on where you are, Anna, I think you said you are in Spain at the moment, so you would have to go to the Spanish, to the German embassy in Spain. But this URL is especially for Russian. I think it's the embassy in Moscow. And okay.
Can you also say, do you already have to have a company to apply for the visa, or just a business plan and then you can go to Germany and apply?
Yeah, you do not have to have a company already. Sometimes that makes it, of course, easier, because also if you already have a company, for example, established in Germany, and you can say that you are the CEO of this company, then you can also provide salary for the CEO, and you can tell the embassy also that you get money from the company. But it also needs a business plan, because where is no money, there you cannot take out money, right? So that's also one thing. And the thing is, just also here to make it clear, I'm not a specialist. It's just a rough process, but it's always an individual process, and it will be always individually checked within the embassy if you get a visa or not. It's no guarantee, never, but this already take into account makes it easier for you to be prepared and to get it as well. Does it help?
Yeah, but what actually about the business plan? So yeah, if it's innovative startup, so you can understand that it's I don't know, for 1 or 2 years the company is just burning money, not getting money, because that's a startup. That's some part of their research they need to finish, that checking the hypothesis and etc.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about business plans. That's why I like them a lot. You can arrange them like you want to have them, right? So of course, also the experts will help you with that. When I was, for example, making my own business plan, because I was also working as a freelancer, I had 3 different versions. One version was like my hypothesis of how it's gonna be, the ideal plan and what I need and things like that. And it went better than that. And the other one was because I was applying for also support from the public sector. I was like, to support me as an individual. I was like not saying that I'm gonna make a lot of money already in the first month, because I wanted their support, right? So this is like you try also with the expert of you applying for a visa. So it should be very well developed. And of course, at the end, business plans are an outlook to the future. It's an hypothesis. You do not know if it's exactly like this or like that, but they really help you for doing it for the visa application as well. But I have to have this bank account, have to net in Russian bank, right? It's okay on a Russian bank. Yes, I think so. Yeah. So it's just one, it doesn't have to be a German bank account, but it has to be a blocked bank account.
Yeah, that's a difficult question for now, but yeah.
Yeah. But also like in this special case, I didn't have that in mind, to be honest. We also work, so we find always solution. We also work closely with the bank. So they, for example, it's one of not many banks that help you opening a German bank account, even if you are not a resident here in Germany. So we will find solutions for that as well. Okay, so I have more questions. Do you think how much in general, besides I need to pay for taxes, lawyer, etc., for making process of starting business? And should I start this process being in Russia? Very, very good question. So normally what we say is that the costs that you have for lawyer and notary is roughly 5,000 euro, depending on how difficult the contract is or how standard the contract is. It's roughly 5,000. It can be less, it can be a little bit more, but in general, it's 5,000. Taxes, I cannot tell you, because the thing is that it's really depending on the location, where you are starting your company. It's depending on the revenue that you are making. So taxes in Germany is really a pain, but that's also something that we provide as Next Mannheim in our programs and also in the individual support, that we bring you together with tax consultants that really explain it in depth for you and also individually, because it's really, really difficult. And yeah, starting the process being in Russia, I would say yes, for the first meetings, to understand better the process, to talk to a lawyer, bank consultant, tax consultant. You can be in Russia located and have these first meetings to get a better understanding about the costs in general as well. Yeah, I got this problem to send and receive money in Russian banks. let me talk to someone who is an expert with that at the moment, and I will provide an answer after this meeting, because I cannot tell you at the moment how we could handle that. That's true. I'm sorry. I didn't have that in mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So this was step number 9, and now we are coming already to step number 10, which is get started. So because it's really interesting, you have now 9 steps, you know roughly what it takes, where you have to start, where you can reach out to, and things like that. But really, when it comes to where do I start now, I brought 3 things with me that could be helpful for you to get like the first step into the process. The first is up to be market discovery. Then I want to talk to you about Next Mannheim Digital Incubator. We do not have a certain date until now, but it's coming in autumn 2022 again. We did it last year and already this year. And we also have Next Mannheim onboarding program. And I will just roughly guide you through. And of course, you can reach out to me if you have any further questions about these programs. So Up to Be Market Discovery is really dedicated to B2B and industry tech startups. It's a 1-week program in person here in Mannheim and Heidelberg from the 26th of September to the 30th of September. And what I want to highlight is we have a cultural keynote. I didn't cover that too much today, but it's really, the title is How to Deal with Those Weird Germans, Business Culture in Germany. And Natalia, she's smiling because she already met some of these guys. And
that's really sometimes a difference between the cultures, and you just have to know it. But yeah.
Know it and also take it a little bit like, okay, it's also funny. And I think this is something that we can overcome. So this is something that I am looking really forward to. Then we also have a market strategy workshop where it's really about what is your value proposition for the German market, who's your ideal customer here, having a prospect list, checking on competitors, things like that, especially for the German market. And then we will also have one-on-ones with corporates and potential clients. I think this is also very valuable. And we also go to Startup BW Summit, which is the startup fair here in Baden-Württemberg. And also there are a lot of investors, business angels, and also corporates coming. And you can see a little bit more the startup ecosystem here in Baden-Württemberg and get in touch with these people. So I also have here the market discovery link where you can apply for the program as well. Then we have our digital incubator. As I said, we had one in May this year. It's a 4 weeks online program, and we have 2-hour sessions per week with the whole group where we provide information about, for example, all the questions that you asked today will be covered all in this 2-hour session. So it's a lot about knowledge about what's the costs, what is the process of founding a GmbH, how do I open a bank account even as a non-German citizen, what is taxes about, how do I hire staff, things like that. So general questions we cover in these meetings, in these 2-hour meetings. And then we have one-on-one sessions with your market entry manager, that's me, and my colleague Burak, and where we dig deeper into your value proposition, your customers, where we make intros to different companies that could be interested in your solution or you want to talk to them. So this is really where we dig deeper into your business model and your business plan. And of course, we do also individual corporate matchmaking. That's what I said. We do open doors. We make intros for you to speak with the right potential clients here in Germany. And I already gave you the link. For us, this digital incubator has really the goal to discover if Mannheim is a good starting point for you and your company, and getting all that is needed, all needed information for a good decision. So at the end, if you at the end say, no, Mannheim is not my place to be, this is also a success for us, because we do not want you to come to Mannheim and be unhappy and unsuccessful because it would have been better for you to start somewhere else, or not entering the German market first, but another market, things like that. So it's really about finding out, is it the right place? Should I do it or not? And making a good decision afterwards. And then if you said, yes, this is a good decision, we have our onboarding program, which is here, where we offer 3 months of free co-working at one of our startup centers, depending on your industry. Also 3 months of free co-living at our startup apartment. It's a shared apartment, but it's also easy and nice to live there, and it's not, so you do not have like all the expenses that you normally have when you are going to another country. We also offer you mentoring sessions, law, sales, legal foundation, team development, things like that. So really depending and really individual on what you need and what your needs are. Also meeting with potential clients, and as I said, your personal business case manager or market entry manager, which is me and my colleague Burak as well. And of course, after these 3 months, we do not stop there and say, okay, now you are on your own, but you are really involved in our community and our startup ecosystem. So we are still there for you to help you. Here again, a little bit more precisely. So we base it on 3 pillars: individual support, business support, and customer acquisition. And I think the highlights are you get 3 months of co-living, 3 months of co-working, and your individual supporter, which really acts like a team member, like a co-founder as well, to make you successful here in the German market. And something to say about the 3 months, you do not have to take these 3 months in a row. So for some startups, it's also interesting to come 2 weeks and then go back to the home country, do follow-ups and things like that, and come back. So it's really an individual thing that we can plan with you. And the goal here is getting the first pilot project and doing the foundation of a company here in Mannheim. So this is something that we cover in the onboarding program as well. So these are 3 very concrete offers, and I also share my contact details, and also that's me, and that's Burak, my colleague. So you can reach out to both of us whenever you need it, whenever you have concrete questions about our programs or anything else, not only about our programs. If you need contacts, if you just want us just share your idea and get a first feedback from our side, feel free to contact us. We are here. And we are happy to help whenever we can. So I see that we have further question. Okay, it's already answered. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's it from my side. I stop here. I think we still have time for questions from your side, if you still have some, and I stop the presentation